Hey folks, it's Jeremy Whaley here, and I want to talk today about why we do or why we don't do certain things. Why we do things, why we don't do certain things. So basically, it's a discussion on human behavior. And what stimulated this conversation is last week I announced a new mastermind program that I'm doing called the Income Engine Incubator. And what was interesting is as I released this, I started getting emails from people who would tell me things like, oh, that looks exciting, but I tried doing a business once and I failed, and I'm not interested in that. I'm only interested in XYZ. And what is XYZ? Well, XYZ for some people is they're interested in trading. I have a lot of that because I've been teaching trading for years. And so a lot of people on my mailing list are interested in learning how to trade. But other people, they say, I'm not interested in trading. I can't do that. I only want to do real estate. Or other people will say, I would never do real estate. I only want to do business. And then some people say, I would never, ever do business. I only want to do fill in the blank. And all of these things reflect one common human construct. That's the word I'm going to use here. It's a construct. And what the construct does is it tells us what we can and what we cannot do. Or someone might say, I could do it, but I'm not willing to do it. I tried it once and I got burned. So if that describes you, then what I'm about to talk about could really change your life. Okay. So I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I am here to help you understand why we do things and why we don't do things. And the term that I want you to become familiar with, the term that I learned many years ago, is this term called a limiting belief. A limiting belief. So what is a limiting belief? Well, many, many years ago, in almost the last millennium, I discovered a book called Think and Grow Rich. It is right here. You've probably, if you've been around very long, you've heard me talk about it. This is my original copy. You can see that it's taped up here. You might see that it's falling apart and literally the pages are coming out of it because this book changed my life. As far as a book written by a human, this is the most influential book that's probably ever come across my life because it changed my course in every way, shape, or form. And that's part of what I want to share with you in this video. It's not about Think and Grow Rich. It's about the shift in belief, the shift in mindset that happened for me when I read this book for the first time. And for me, what I discovered when I read Think and Grow Rich is I discovered the American dream. Like many of you, or maybe you're watching this internationally, maybe you've heard of the American dream, but for me, I was raised in America and the American dream was embedded in everything that I do. But it was a distorted American dream because they taught us you need to go to school, you need to get an education, you create a career, you go get a job, you do that job for the next 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. And when you're 65, if you've done everything right, you've paid all your taxes, you've done all your Social Security, then eventually you're going to get a retirement income and you can ride off into the sunset and be happily ever after. Of course, after you're too old to enjoy it. That's what they taught us. That's what I believed. And so I graduated from college and I entered into the workforce and I was somewhat miserable. And I found this book, Think and Grow Rich, which did not teach me the same American dream. This book taught me a different American dream. This book taught me that you can be, do, and have anything that you can imagine. And if you can think it in your mind, then you can go do it. And for me as a creative person, somebody who's very much into thinking and imagining, I started imagining, could this be possible? And what I was starting to understand, I was very early in my journey, but I was starting to understand at that time is I was deconstructing this word, limiting beliefs. I was deconstructing limiting beliefs in my life. And over the years, this has been a 25-year study for me now. It's been a journey that I've been on. And over the years, I've experienced some extreme highs and some extreme lows. But every step of the journey, what I have learned is I'm in control of that. I get to decide the next step of the journey that I'm willing to go along. And all of that is related to the things that I choose to believe. So maybe you've heard it said, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. Who said this? I don't know. I heard Henry Ford said it. I've heard Gandhi said it. I've heard all sorts of people said it. Now I said it. Okay. If you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. What does that mean? It means that what we consider possible, what is possible for you to do, what is possible for me to do, really comes down to what we believe. It speaks to this idea of a limiting belief. Now, a limiting belief is a belief that you hold that limits you. An unlimiting belief would be a belief that you hold that would create infinite, endless possibility. And you can choose which one sounds more interesting to you. All of it boils down to a belief that we call identity. Identity of all of the beliefs is probably the most important in terms of being able to change your life. So if you're watching this video, if you've been on my mailing list, if you've been following me for very long, you know that what we're here talking about is we're talking about what are changes you can make so you can have massive breakthroughs, so you can create a different experience in your life. And what I want to share with you is the way that you do that is to go straight to answering beliefs about your identity. Answering beliefs about your identity. Maybe you've heard me say it, maybe you haven't. I'm going to share it with you right now. There is no force that is stronger. The strongest force in the human psyche, the strongest force in the mind, is the need for an individual to remain consistent with how they see themselves. Okay? What do I mean by that? It is this. Your identity is so embedded in who you are that your unconscious mind will literally move heaven and earth to reaffirm to you what you believe about yourself. So if you wake up and you say, I'm not from a family that's supposed to have a lot of money, guess what's going to happen? Your unconscious mind, without you knowing it, is going to find ways to sabotage your life and recreate in your life the reality that you don't have enough money. Why? Because you tell yourself, I'm from a family that doesn't have enough money. We never have enough money. There's always more demand for the money than there is money. There's never enough. It always runs out. Whatever your story is. If you have a different belief, let's say that you have a belief that I always have more than enough money, then what do you think your unconscious mind is going to do? It's going to find ways to keep creating more and more abundance in your life and keep creating more than enough. Why? Because it's your belief. And so people ask me all the time, they say, Jeremy, how do I make the shift from where I'm at to where I want to be? And what I want to share with you right now is the number one shift that you can make is understanding your identity and changing your identity. If you can change your beliefs, you can change your life. Change your beliefs about yourself. Change the way you see yourself. If a person says, I believe I'm fat, even if they're not fat, they're going to find a way to put on weight and become fat, right? It may not be real for the rest of the world, but it's real for the person who believes it. It may not be real in actuality, but it is real for them, okay? That's the power of identity beliefs. And what I want to challenge you with is this right here. It is your identity that will determine for you what is possible. It's your identity that will determine for you what is possible. If you say, I'm not the kind of person who knows how to trade, guess what? You're not going to be a great trader. If you're a person who says, I'm not good with math, I'm not good with numbers, I can't do those kind of things, guess what? It's not going to happen for you. Or maybe you're one of my trading students right now and you're watching this and you're like, my trades keep going up and then they go back down and I kind of break even and that just seems to be who I am. Boom. You've identified your identity right there. Now you know we got to change it. We need to reprogram your identity and help you realize not just what's possible, but that it's not just possible for anybody. It's also possible for you. Okay. I hear people say all the time, as soon as I get into a trade, it turns around and stops out. And I tell them, stop saying that. Like quit manifesting it. The more you say it over and over again, guess what happens? It becomes your reality. Or as I started this video, people sending me messages, oh, I'm not interested in building a business. That seems too complicated. I can't do online business. I tried it once and I lost a bunch of money. You know what? I like to think that my Income Engine Incubator is different, but it doesn't have to be different. You can think whatever you want to think. What I want you to realize is that very thought, the very thought that I can't do something, is the limiting belief. It is the belief that is saying to you, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do. And since that belief is there and we have a human psyche that says, I need to stay consistent with who I am, guess what happens? It kicks in and suddenly it starts to dictate our reality. Now, no one wants to believe that. No one wants to believe that we're controlled by something that is an almost invisible force about ourselves. But here's what I want to challenge you with. I can tell you exactly where you're going to be in 5 years. Or I can even tell you in 10 years where you're going to be. You're going to be exactly where you are today, except for the changes that you choose to make. And those changes can be a change in decision, where you decide to go a different direction. And it can also be a change in your belief. And when you make those changes, a change in a belief, change in identity, change in a direction, when you start to implement those changes, you set yourself onto a completely different path. You literally change the direction of your life. And now you carry that out 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, suddenly you're in a completely different spot. That's what's so powerful about the ability to literally think and grow rich, to change your thoughts and change your reality. Okay, so here's what I want to leave you with in terms of a thought. Every breakthrough that you will ever experience in your life comes by shifting what we believe to be possible. Every breakthrough. There's never a breakthrough you will have in your life that doesn't first require a shift in identity, a shift in how you think, a shift in what you're willing to believe. And if you're sitting here saying, I'm not going to be a real estate investor because real estate investing could really, cost me a lot of money. That one person broke my toilet. Or you say, I can't trade the stock. I'm not willing to trade crypto. There's nothing substantive to it. I want to trade stocks, not this digital stuff. Whatever the story is that you're telling yourself, that's a belief that's holding you back. The truth is everything I've mentioned, whether it be business offline, whether it be business online, whether it be real estate, trading stocks and options, trading cryptocurrency, trading Forex, or anything else, everything I have mentioned has the potential to generate for you life-changing financial breakthrough. That is the reality, is absolute reality. There's more opportunity every day than you could ever do in an entire lifetime. That is something I believe. That's something I know to be true. There's more life-changing opportunity, financially life-changing opportunities every day than you could do in an entire lifetime. I guarantee that is a true statement. Now, if it's not true for you yet, then you haven't opened yourself up to enough possibilities. But there are more opportunities every day than any of us could ever do in our entire life. So if you've not figured out how to take advantage of them, then the key for that is to learn to unlock your limiting beliefs and shift, make those shifts in there of what's possible for you. And you first question, is it possible for anybody? The answer is yes. The next question, is it possible for you? And the answer is also yes. As Napoleon Hill said in his book, Think and Grow Rich, if you can conceive it in your mind, if you can think it, if you can believe it, then you can achieve it. If you can conceive it and believe it, then you can achieve it. Listen, if this sounds interesting to you and you say, I think it might be time, go check out what I'm doing with the Income Engine Incubator. Take a look at it, and if it looks interesting to you, then schedule a call. Let's talk. We're going to be dealing with mindset in this mastermind. We're going to be going into limiting beliefs, rewiring limiting beliefs, and helping you make the shift to say, you know what, I didn't think I could do this, but it turns out I can do it. And you don't need to just be a trader. You don't need to just be a real estate investor or just a business person. The truth is, to design a really quality financial plan for your life, or a financial fortress, as I like to call it, you need to have all of it. You need to have some income engines, some little micro businesses. You need to have some real estate. You need to have the trading income. You need all of it. It's all part of the bigger picture. And if that sounds like you, if it sounds like something you're looking at this and saying, you know what, he's right, I need to at least investigate it, go check it out, schedule a call, let's get on the phone, and if it's the right fit for you, let's get you into the mastermind, and let's start incubating some income engines to help you change your life.